Too often, the information that we have received about juveniles is framed in a negative. It does not celebrate their successes. Instead, it highlights their failures. In my mind, all children have the ability to learn and deserve an opportunity to be educated. Far too often, our children are locked up. They're institutionalized for long periods of time. I believe that to be the wrong solution. Why? Because children understand the need for information, and they get it, whether we lock them up in an institution or whether they are in school. If they're locked up in an institution, yes, the jury formality of learning continues. We lock them up for a low-level misdemeanor possession of marijuana. After they leave jail, not only do they know more about marijuana, now they know how to cook crack cocaine, how to make methamphetamines. They now know how to steal a car, and they know how to load an assault weapon. This begs the question, how do you want our children back in your community? Do you want them back with a more sophisticated criminal mind because we have chosen to lock them up? Or do you want them back in your community decent, respectful, with an understanding of what it means to be law-abiding? Expulsion, lock them up, and throw away the key are not the answers. We must get away from those old paradigms. Those that advocated zero tolerance for children in the late 1980s and early 1990s got it wrong. They got it wrong. In 2009, in collaboration with a wonderful, wonderful not-for-profit in our city, MERS Goodwill, and the superintendent of the St. Louis Public Schools, the Missouri Circuit Court Juvenile Division created the Innovative Concept Academy. The purpose of our academy was to take children that nobody else wanted, bring them into our doors, and educate them. The hope being that we would make them better people. So the children that I wanted those children that had been expelled from school due to our zero tolerance laws as young as 11 years old, out on our streets with nowhere else to go, expelled from school. Yet, we are a compulsory educational state. So how do we reconcile that? Well, we reconcile that all over this country by providing 3 or 4 hours worth of educational instruction per week. And the rest of the week, they roam our streets, creating havoc in our neighborhood. They are indeed a menace to society. Education is the key, irrespective of who they are. So we take those children that have been expelled. We also take the children that are the most incorrigible in our city. Oftentimes, I hear parents complain that their children cannot learn in the classroom because X and Y are too incorrigible. We take those children. Yes, we take those children that have not enough credits to graduate, and we put them in our GED programs. And of course, we take my children. Those children that I have adjudicated and committed to the Division of Youth Services state lockup facilities. After 2 or 3 years, they return back to me. We take those children and we educate those children because it is important. Why should you care? Because you have responsibility. you have responsibility to help the court make sure that these children don't continue to go to jail. Why else should you care? Well, like Missouri, all over this country, when children are locked up in the juvenile court facility, the law mandates at some time they must be released, irrespective of the type of crime that they have committed. In Missouri, that age is 18. So it doesn't matter that I commit a child to the Division of Youth Services for robbery, rape, or even murder. When that child turns 18 years old, our state must release that child. How do you want that child back? Our school provides services, wonderful, wonderful services for children that are not as conventional as you might think. See, in our school, we have student offices for mental health. We have student offices that address mediation, conflict resolution. We drop urines for drugs and STDs. In our school, there is a police department and also a wonderful partnership that exists with the St. Louis Police Department K-9 unit, where we actually do drug sweeps. The purpose, not to arrest our children, not to investigate our children, but to make sure that they are in environments that are drug-free and safe. Our children want to learn. We have the appropriate expectations for them to learn, one of which is the uniform policy. Our children like the uniform, but they especially like the tie. Some would ask why. The tie, as they tell me, make us feel smart. Our teachers respect us when we have on a tie. They listen when we have on a tie. Our children work extremely hard. They understand that the wall that they are against, it is indeed the final chance. The final chance for our children to prove that they can be decent and law-abiding. We have wonderful, wonderful partners. We are not necessarily a public school. We couldn't possibly be a public school. I'm bringing children back in school that have been expelled. We are not a charter school. Not a charter school because I utilize public school teachers, buildings, and administrators. Yet, we're this wonderful hybrid, a hybrid that I believe is so important that we're willing to go out on the edge. Yes, bring in those nuns. I need the nuns. Bring in the Baptist preacher. Bring in that Episcopalian chaplain. Yes, bring in the private entities, Churchill Center and School. Bring me the YMCA. Yes, it is so important that I need mentors of all types and kinds. Bring in me that ex-felon, that ex-con, someone who understands what it means to get to the children. See, we have to go where they are. We have to reach the children exactly where they are. Sometimes it means identifying with them. And it is so wonderful that I can identify with them. You see, there is no measurable difference between me and them. I grew up right across the street from where the school sits. I grew up in the housing projects just like them. I know their parents, their grandparents. I've sentenced their dads and their moms to the penitentiary. So when the messages come back through them to me, it's usually mom and dad from jail saying, Judge Edwards wants you to behave, and you ought to behave. But more importantly, in our school, I understand what it takes. I call it truth in learning. See, truth in learning at our school means that if you have an incompetent teacher, get her out. Truth in learning means that if our children tell me that they're in the 12th grade and they're reading on a 4th grade level, well, we go back to the 4th grade and we teach them how to read from the 4th grade level. School is not always about math and science. We need other things that they can touch and feel. You see, in my school, I paint by dots. We get one dot painted and then we go to the next dot. Like all schools, I would want every last one of my children to perform at the highest ranks of all kids in the world. But I know that maybe that won't happen. So what I do with my children, I just simply ask them to give me an effort greater than they've ever given before, an effort better than yesterday, and I'll applaud you. In our school, we take it a step at a time. In our school, we have unique programs like chess. You see, chess is a cerebral game. It's the type of game that makes you think. You can't be too impulsive. You have to be just a little deliberate. It's life. See, in chess, you make a bad move, you can lose your queen. In life, you make a bad move, you can lose your life. We have a wonderful program, our dog training program. What an amazing thing. Why? It's a stray dog training program. The kids identify themselves with the stray dog. They develop an ability to care, an ability to love, an ability to be responsible for something. See, nobody else or nobody has ever been responsible for them. It gives them an opportunity to learn how to love and to care. I would be remiss if I did not tell you about our wonderful chess experience at one of our wonderful county schools. We took 9 of our children to participate in a scholastic chess tournament. That tournament was a wonderful tournament. See, when I take my kids to tournaments, we ride in juvenile court vans. On the side of the van, juvenile court. And we also travel with St. Louis police officers and deputy juvenile officers. And when we arrived at this wonderful suburban school, we pulled up. And as we exited the van, more than 800 eyes sheepishly gazed at us. They couldn't believe that we would wear ties to a chess tournament. That's not the story. The story is Amy, an 11-year-old, blue-eyed, blonde chess champion. We didn't know that when we arrived. But after one of my big boys, who was about 17 years old, his name was Andre, he checked in. And she saw Andre's number. And she approached Andre, and she said, "We will be playing together." And all the big boys looked down at her, and Andre looked at her. He couldn't believe he would be playing a little girl. But she was bold. She said, "I want you to know that I have never been beaten by an adult." And then she went on, for those of you that understand the chess language, she said, "I won't castle you today, since you're new to our competition." And then she took his hand and she skipped him away. I couldn't believe he followed her. And she took him to the table and she set him down. 10 minutes later, you know that's too fast to be in a chess game. 10 minutes later, he was back. And before the kids can ask him what happened, he said, yes, she kicked my butt. But she said I was the best adult that she had ever played. 2 or 3 hours later, Andre was seated, alone, sad, by himself. Amy walked by, and she asked, how are you doing? And he said, not so well. Immediately, she sat down, and she started to tutor him. Andre won his next game. An 11-year-old taught my 17-year-old young man how to win and how to lose in less than 4 hours. You see, we all embody the hopes of children known and unknown. We all. But for Amy, he could not have achieved that day. See, she did something that was special. She did something that was special. She looked him in his eyes, because she understood that the eyes are the doorways to the heart. See, that's where love resides, irrespective of one's impurities and one's station in life. See, she understood that if you're going to be decent and if you're going to help people, you got to not be distracted by the exterior. You can't get caught up on that crazy hair. I only say that because I'm jealous. You can't worry about the pants on the ground or the tattoos on the neck. It's important that we get to the heart. You see, we all have a responsibility. And humanity shines its brightest when you help children. Humanity shines its brightest when you help children. All of us want to do good in our lives. We all want to leave something good in our life. Our legacy has nothing to do with the degrees that we have. Our legacy has nothing to do with the amounts of money that are in our bank accounts. Our legacy will have nothing to do with what is even written on our headstone. It's what we do for others that matters most. What is woven in the hearts of others is what is defined as humanity. Thank you.